Good morning. It's a big pleasure being here. I very much subscribe to the educational agenda of bringing talented students together with the best scientists. So I have to say this is something that worked for me personally. Without the mentorship of one of these giants of science that are here, Bert Sakmann, my career would have certainly not taken the turn, and I totally believe in learning from the best. Now, this is easier said than done, and you will interact with these Nobel laureates and stuff, and I have to tell you there's another side to them. They're a little bit intimidating. So I was, of course, very worried, how should I give a talk here, since I haven't won the Nobel Prize? How should I give a talk here and appeal to the public? So I thought I need a big topic, and I brought along a real big topic, giants, elephants actually, and this is what I will talk about. I talk about the biology of grasping in these animals, and the first part of the talk will be about elephant trunks and trunk behavior, a particular trunk behavior that's that's unusual and we studied in great depth, and then I briefly go over some aspects of elephant neuroanatomy. Now, the elephant trunk, it's a fusion organ from nose and upper lip. So here's the upper lip of the elephant, and it's fused with the nose. And in early elephant fetuses, they just have long noses, And when they're born, then the lip fuses to the nose, An important thing, and maybe if you remember only one thing from this talk, remember that the African and the Asian elephants, they have different trunk tips, The trunk of the Africans, it has two triangular protrusions, so-called trunk fingers, and with these two trunk fingers, they pinch things, They use these fingers a lot, and I'll come back to this at the end of the talk, They do pinching. The Asians, they only have one finger, one dorsal finger, and then they tend to wrap their trunk around things, And they call it a grasping strategy. Now, the behavior we studied is, this is done in the Zoo of Berlin by Lena Kaufmann, Rolf Becker, he's the main caretaker, and the vet there, Andreas Ochs, and it concerns a banana consumption by one of the elephant cows there, Pongpa. And what Pongpa does is, you will see that in a second, she tends to eat green-yellow bananas, much like other elephants. Here, you see Lena give her the banana, and she just eats that. And that's what most elephants do, But she can also do otherwise. If you give her a yellow-brown banana, as shown in the next movie, she'll do something that is quite amazing. She'll start to peel it, And when I first saw it, I actually didn't even see it. So she smashes the banana down, and sorts through the peel, And then eats the inner thing, checks if nothing is left, If it's all peel, she discards the peel, and now she wants more, Let's have a closer look at this in slow motion. You see how skillful and amazing this behavior is, So she slams down the banana and breaks it. Then she discards the piece, and then she picks it up and tries to hold on to the peel, and again does these slamming movements, and this way segregates the peel from the banana, And she checks other pieces. She again grabs the major piece, picks up the peel, discards the peel, and then she'll eat. And you'll beautifully see her one dorsal finger now, grabbing the banana and eating it, Then she does a bit of quality control, if she really there's nothing left, And she gets this. I think she's also smelling, probably, testing it out. And when we now look at the leftovers in just a second, you see that she works in a very clean fashion. This is just peel. She disregards that. And now we have a look at the leftovers. She does a very good job. So you saw in this first movie already two behaviors that she does, namely directly eating bananas or peeling them. She has another behavior that we show in the next movie, and that's the rejection of brown bananas. And here you see Lena give her a brown banana, She takes it, so it's not a visual behavior. We think she finds out by touch or smell if she doesn't like this banana. So she takes it, checks it, and drops it off. Now, we do something nasty that we usually don't do in this movie. We give her 2 bad bananas, 2 brown bananas, and then she gets cranky and retaliates, and it's quite funny. So another brown banana. So you see the brown banana lying there? Watch what she does now. She throws it back at Lena. Yeah? So very expressive animals. The behavior is highly banana specific. Yeah? So green bananas and green yellow bananas, she eats 100% directly. And this actually cost us weeks. So we heard from the caretakers that she can peel bananas, and every day we would bring the most beautiful banana we could find to the zoo, and she would never peel it. Yeah, it drove us literally crazy. Then we found out when you give her brown, yellow bananas, she starts to peel them, actually a majority of them. And the brown ones you already saw, she rejects. Though there is more to this than just banana specificity. It turns out that behavior is also dependent on social context. And a thing that about elephants is they are always hungry and they're in a really tense food competition. So when you socially feed these bananas, she behaves differently in a very interesting way. So there we sprayed out a couple of brown, yellow bananas that she would normally feed, and the animals get a cue to collect them. Here you see our bananas. This is Pongpa. And you'll see she'll eat a lot of these bananas directly. Yeah? Yeah, very fast. But now watch the last one. The last one she retains. Yeah? Very interesting. Yeah? And you will see in a second, this is her daughter, Anjali. She also collected a bunch of bananas. Yeah, they are really competing, the animals. Yeah? And you'll see another elephant coming by. Pongpa, she now begs for more from Lena, who's filming the scene. Yeah, she wants more from her. She still holds on to that one banana. You'll see it in her trunk in just a second. And not just you will see it, also Mary, this other elephant, saw it. And she starts to be very nice with Pongpa. Yeah, and do niceties with Pongpa, touch her. Yeah, you see her being very friendly. And the reason is that she notices that Pongpa still has this banana. Yeah. But Pa is not willing to share. Yeah, what she does is she peels it. Yeah, and before Mary comes, she collects it and actually peels it again. Yeah, in this very professional manner, and being done with it. So, what is interesting here? This is a behavior highly specific to Pongpa. We tested about 10 other elephants. None of them peel. Yeah, and why is it so? We think this is so because Pongpa is actually a human-raised elephant. She was donated to the people of Berlin by the Thai king Bhumikol when she was a young baby, 6 months old, 1980, and she was raised by humans. And her caretaker, Rüdiger Pankow, he would always feed her peeled bananas. Yeah, and that's how we think that she acquired it. And this makes this behavior quite different from other behaviors that you see in rats. So this was the behavioral part that I wanted to talk about. I'll talk a little bit now about elephant neuroanatomy and how it relates to the trunk. So elephant neuroanatomy is a tough subject. Many elephants are dissected. If an elephant dies in the zoo, it's usually dissected, but very few brains are accessible to science. Yeah? In every natural history museum, there are 50 elephant skulls, but no brains. Yeah? Big mistake. And the guy who helped us address this is Thomas Hildebrand, an elephant vet. He made a priority to get us elephant brains, and this is an undertaking. So this is Linda. She died 2 years ago in Poland. So if you chopped off her head, it was still 650 kilos. Yeah. Then if you removed the trunk, the tusks, everything, still more than the lower jaw, still more than 100 kilogram. This piece. Yeah. Difficult to extract the brain. We have now a bunch of them. They are not in great shape for all kinds of reasons that I don't want to go into. But at least we have elephant brains. Now, one thing that is already very clear to us is the cellular organization is quite different from the brains we know. In a mouse, in a piece of mouse cortex, a cubic millimeter, you would find 100,000 cells, yeah? A lot more than in a human brain, where you would maybe find 40,000 cells, yeah? In an elephant, which has a 4 to 5 kilogram brain, you would find 7,000 cells per cubic millimeter, very few. And we have two competing ideas about this, something we're working on. One is the so-called empty brain hypothesis. Maybe elephant brains are simply empty, yeah? The other thing is, maybe if there are so few neurons, they are very particular, the superneuron hypothesis. It's something we're working on. It's difficult to address, but very interesting. Something where we made more progress are the sensory nerves. So what you see here is the trigeminal ganglion. It contains the cell bodies of the cell that innervate the trunk, yeah, and they send axon collaterals then into the brain. And this structure, it's lying below the brain of the elephant. There was not even a photograph available when we started working on it. There was one drawing of these structures from the 1950s. It's very impressive, so it's about 55 grams, yeah? And this is a lot of material for a primary sensory structure. It's more, the two ganglia, they are more than a monkey brain, or compared to the human retina. The human retina weighs about 0.3 grams, yeah? And this thing here weighs 50 grams, so we're very impressed with it. The biggest branch that goes from the trigeminal ganglion is this maxillary branch, and it gives rise to the so-called infraorbital nerve, which innervates the trunk, yeah? And this connection, it's thicker than the animal's spinal cord. So the elephant's brain, it's more strongly connected to the trunk than to the rest of the body. If you look at then these nerves that come from it, the infraorbital nerve, a giant nerve, very impressive, yeah? Much bigger than the visual nerve or the vestibulocochlear nerve of the animal. And if you read about elephants, however, this is not mirrored in this literature. Yeah? Most of it is on olfaction. There's a lot about hearing, but very little work on touch. I think it's a big mistake. We think these animals are incredibly tactile. And we counted cells and axons. That's something I also got from my advisor. And these counts very much enforce this impression. We have a candidate structure for the cortical representation of touch, and it's a strange module that you would not see in small brains, but we think it's probably something that is more common in big brains. Namely, there is a module that quite looks like the trunk tip in elephant somatosensory cortex. It's stereotyped. You see it in basically all elephant brains, and there are skin folds on the trunk that you can often match with folds that you see in these cortical modules of the different elephants we have. It's very large, and another thing that's very interesting, it's comparatively small in baby elephants, yeah? So it grows a lot. So we think this might be one of these places where the elephant lays down tactile memories, and I told you about this very experience-dependent peeling behavior. This is something, it's very reminiscent of pigs. Yeah? If you look at pigs, they also have a 3D model of their snout in their brain. Yeah? And it's something that you see only in big brains. It's understudied, and we're working very hard on this. The last two slides I want to spend with the facial motor control of the trunk. It's again work from Lena Kaufmann, Thomas Hildebrand, and others. And why is that interesting? So in the human body, they estimate we have about 650 muscles. Now, in the elephant trunk, the estimates diverge, but the 200-year-old estimate, probably the best one from Cuvier, is about 40,000 muscles. Yeah? We have in the entire body 650. Cuvier estimates we have about 40,000 muscles in the trunk. There are even higher estimates. We try to get this right with micro-CT scans of trunks, and I think we'll have a very good number shortly. Now, if you look at the cells that innervate the trunk, the motor neurons in control of the trunk, this is the facial nucleus. You see it here, and it's very large. Yeah, it's very large, no surprise. Now, in most mammals, this is between 3 and 10,000 cells. Yeah, we have 9,000 cells, and humans are incredibly proud of their facial mimic. Yeah, the smiles and so we find it very appealing, but just 8,000 neurons. Yeah, so the Asians, they have 50,000. The Africans, a bit more than 60,000. So a lot more cells. Now, I could talk all day about the elephant facial nucleus, but time doesn't permit. I just want to come back to the beginning and show you an overview of cells, superimposed cells in the African elephant facial nucleus. And I told you that they use their fingers a lot. And this is something that jumps on you. And you get a sense, in most mammals, it's small, roundish nuclei. They don't look so differentiated. Yeah, it's a round thing in the pig, in the rat. In the elephant, it relates a lot more to function. Yeah. So here we have the elephant trunk tip, African elephant trunk tip, with the two fingers, the ventral finger and the dorsal finger, yeah, seen in a side view. And here we have superimposed cells, yeah, and you see these dense regions of very large cells. And we think these cells are very large because they extend very big axons into the fingers, yeah, 2 meter long axons, and have a high density. And we think it's an underpinning of this pinching behavior of the African elephants, which engages their fingers very much. In an Asian elephant, the picture would look similar, but much less impressive. I summarize. I hope I communicated to you that the banana peeling is a unique behavior. And it's a combination of things that makes it unique. It's skillful, but you see also skillful behaviors in other animals. But it's also very banana specific. It's very context dependent. It seems to be acquired from humans. Yeah, it seems to be a heavily experience dependent behavior and a very individual behavior. Only this elephant does it. Yeah, so we think there are things in this behavior of these big mammals that are very individualized and maybe different from the behaviors that we know in rats and mice. I also talked a little bit about elephant neuroanatomy. They have enigmatic brains with very elaborate tactile and motor adaptations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this amazing talk. And I will, since I love bananas, I will definitely study my own banana-dependent behavior and peeling habits. So before you leave the stage, let us give you the certificate from as a thank from the organizing committee.